Hello. Excuse me for this. It's the first time I've gone live, so I'm a little bit unsure of whether or not it's working properly. Could you just give me a comment or something if you're there and it's working and you can hear me? Oh, it's working. Brilliant. Thank you very much. So I think we're just coming up to past. Just gone past, actually. So, hello, Ashley. We'll just give it a few minutes, see if a few more people are going to join us before we get stuck in. I'll just grab some tools that I'm going to need for the kit. It's a pretty simple kit, so I don't think we're going to need much other than a sharp scalpel. So perhaps a nice smooth file as well, just to take some of the spurs off the plastic, but nothing too crazy. Hi Jack, thanks for dropping in. I think it's an occasion that calls for a new scalpel blade. Hello, hi. Hi Richard, yes, hopefully it'll be interesting. It's only a bit of fun. I'm just making the plastic Da Vinci clock kit that I've seen around a bit, so we'll get stuck into that. Right, so if you're all here and ready to start, I'll get stuck in. So background is that the Da Vinci clock kit I found just by doing a bit of a Google search online. I was looking for some of his drawings of his clock ideas, because it was just a little rabbit hole that I was going down at the time, and I was thinking, you know, what ideas did he have that could be incorporated into a potential clock project proper in the future. I thought that could be interesting, because I do plan to make a clock inspired by the Galileo clock model that many of you will be familiar with, the escapement that he designed. So I was thinking along the same lines with something Da Vinci based to accompany that. Ideas for future projects, basically. And while investigating that, I found the kit. I mean, it's not I don't imagine it's going to be a real clock that's going to keep time, but I think it does sort of tick at the end of it, hopefully. It's just plastic, so it's not a sort of a long-term clock that you could have on the shelf keeping time every day, I don't think. But anyway, it's supposedly has his designing of an escapement incorporated into it, or a sort of a idea of that kind of thing. Anyway, so I'll flip the camera around and we can have a look at the kit and see what's involved. Right. Is that working for everyone? So this is the kit as received. It's not sponsored or anything. I'm not. I've had to buy this with my own money. There's no kind of commercial involvement in this. But I haven't prepped this in advance. This is just unopened. So we'll see how we get on. Oh, I forgot to ask, did any of you buy one of these kits and are building along with me today, or are you just all here to see me make a mess of it? Right, so this is what's in the box. We've got the instructions here, and it gives us the kit of parts by the look of it, and then we've got the basic sort of assembly instructions, what to do first, and it's all sort of yeah. Thanks, Ashley. It's all sort of clicked together apparently. So there's no glue, no painting. No, so it's we're not like making an Airfix kit here. It's should be pretty straightforward. So there are two options in the kit here by the look of it for motion work. Basically giving two different rotations based on the gearing option that you decide to go for. And then also there's two options for mounting it. You can either have it wall mounted, or you could have it on a desktop mount. I just noticed, is my focus okay? Can you see okay? Maybe it's the live stream that's making it look slightly cloudy on my screen. So it looks pretty straightforward. I think what we'll do is it's what we've got to aim for. Okay, so I think what we'll do, we'll crack open the bag of bits and have a look what's going on. Right. Hi Theo, thanks for dropping by. So what have we got here? These look like the main plate assemblies. I'm interested to see how much of this kit sort of tallies with traditional clockmaking, and how much of it really is sort of a kit, if you like, you know, that departs from traditional clockmaking designs and values. But we'll see. So let's just start laying parts out. See what we've got. This bag looks like these are the dials and some of the motion work. Ah, right, Torsten, yeah. I don't know if that's to do with connection or what it is. Yeah, it's the first time doing a live stream, so I'm not sure what the quality level is to be expected anyway. So I don't think I can do anything about focus at my end. I think it's just, yeah, automatic. So yeah, we'll plod on. Yeah, Jules, it would be it would be nice, but maybe we can maybe we should, at the end of this, pimp it, improve it. Brass wheels, jewel bearings, who knows? Anyway, so in this bag we've got the dials and the looks like the motion work and the escape wheel, or escape wheels, and the train wheels. So I think we're going to need those pretty early on, so let's crack into that bag. I'll leave the dials because I don't think we'll need those for a little bit. So these look like the train wheels. Quality looks pretty good actually. They're you know, obviously all plastic components, but it looks, you know, it feels pretty good and it looks pretty good. So I have a hope that we'll get this to do some ticking shortly. Right. And this is the last bag. So in this one, we have proper Airfix looking set of parts here. I think these look like the feet for the base. That I think could be part of the optional wall mount. In fact, I don't think any of those parts, I think these are like the weights or what pretend to be weights. I don't think I'm going to need any of that for a short while. And these look like escapement components, I think. Right, and then we've got a little bag of what they would call axles, I think, but these are, I would call arbors, being a clockmaker. So they're the shafts, I suppose you could call it, for the wheelwork. So let's get stuck in. See if I can get you a slightly better view of what's going on. Okay, so B1. That's B2. So this one's B1. And 5A. 5A being here. So this is 5A. Let's see. Oh yeah, they snap out really, really easily. So what I might just do, there's barely anything there actually, but I might just grab a fine, in a reasonable job of things if possible. Right, so 5A. Looks like we're going to, is there a way up? Nope. Going on there. Ooh, it's quite a tight fit actually. I don't want to break anything. Yeah. It's quite a tight fit, but obviously there's no glue or anything involved, so I suppose this is going to be either a snap fit or a tight fit all the way along. So it's asking for hexagonal shaft, 45 millimeters. It looks like I don't need to bother getting a vernier out because it's telling me that that one is 45. So we use that, and then we want D2 and D4, which look like these two escape wheels. So are these handed? Yeah, they do actually. There's only one way that they will go together. So we can just push those together. Right, hexagonal shaft. Now that's tight. It's interesting. Don't want to break it, so just see if it'll pop apart again and let's see. Yeah, pretty tight going through there, blimey. Right, okay. Yep, that's not going to be convenient, is it? Okay, let's have a look. Give it a little bit of gentle persuasion. Yeah, that started moving now. There it goes. There we go. I'm not quite sure how far that has to press in at this stage, so right, so it's only actually keyed into one side of the escapement, so I see. And I see, so there is a, oh no, it's not rounded, it's not rounded at all, it is just hexagonal. So that is supposed to drop into there, and of course we were supposed to have put that on first. So this is how this is going to go. Oh dear, right, let's see, that's it, it'll push back enough to allow that to go in there. Now, I'm not going to bother oiling things at this stage. I don't think, the plastic is going to really warrant needing to lubricate anything, so we'll just stick it together as it is and see what happens. So I've just pushed the shaft down so that to where it wanted to be, if you like. So I just pressed it forward until it came to the bottom of there. Seemed like it wants to sit there, but we'll make sure everything's got the necessary freedoms and end shakes and things as we get to it. Right, so let's crack on. So section 2, and we're going to make a sub-assembly here by the looks. So we want 1A, which is here. Again, see how easily these just snap out. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even need to sharpen my scalpel. These just snap out easily. So there's 1A and 4A. This is looking to me like it's going to be the folio style balance assembly. And then we've got 7C and 6C. These are on this one. And we have one of each for each side. Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, don't forget to do a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to the channel already, then please consider subscribing for the regular content where we take things a little bit more seriously. I just put out a video yesterday, actually, and there's the weekly vlog videos to look forward to. So don't forget to subscribe and check out those videos. I'd really appreciate it. On the subject of subscribing to the channel, now's the time to give a big thank you to those of you who have already done so. This morning I hit the magic 6,000. I love making it to the round figures. It's another goal ticked off on the way to 10,000. So thank you very much to all of you who have already subscribed and made it up to that 6,000 figure. I really appreciate it. The more traction the channel gets, the more content I'm going to put out. It's as simple as that, because as the videos get more views and more ad revenue comes in, the more time I can dedicate to it. Being full-time as a clockmaker already means that I can dedicate time purely based on the financial implications. I don't have sort of a traditional day job, even though I'm not a professional YouTuber. I run my own business, so part of the business can be actually making these videos. So as they gain traction, I will do more and more. The main goal, I don't know how aware some of you are of it, is to actually make a sort of a masterpiece project. I've got some designs brewing for a regulator, which will be a fairly complex astronomical regulator. And it'll be a serious clock. It will be seriously involved. It'll be a big project. It'll take a lot of time, and I want to bring all of you on that journey. I want to make it completely open source, the whole project and the whole process of making that clock. So if you are keen to see that happen, then I'd really appreciate it if you could check out my Patreon as well, because becoming a patron is another way in which you can really help accelerate the whole thing towards that goal. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Winter Garden. Do you know Winter Garden and the marble machine? Well, Winter Garden is a big inspiration. His marble machine is basically, think about what he's achieved with that marble machine and the work that's involved and everything. And translate that into a masterpiece clock, a a real sort of complex astronomical clock, and obviously I'm going to make it as well as I possibly can. But the whole kind of philosophy, the process of bringing everyone along for the journey, that's what I want to do. So obviously that involves everyone. I need everyone's help to make that happen. So that's the dream. So anyway, we're plodding on with this little assembly here. That looks to me like something like a folio, which is what they've asked for here. Be careful of direction. Right, okay, let's be careful of the direction. We want number 6A, which is this one. Yeah, really quite impressive, this kit, actually. The quality of the, I assume it's all injection molded. It needs barely anything just to tidy it up. So quite nice. Right, be careful of direction. I see. So what they're asking for is for this. Let's see if I can get you a little bit closer. They're showing this in orientation to, there's an arrow on here, and they show it a bit closer there. So that arrow has to be pointing up, and then the sort of negative part of this. See the ends here. There's that's the plain end, and then that's got the sort of negative end on it. So that has to be in line with the arrow pointing up on here. Although, let's go a little bit further and see what actually stops that orientation. Oh, I see. So it goes all the way up to here. Right, okay. Oh, I see. It's as we go into the main assembly now that the orientation gets fixed. But first, I've got the escapement. What's essentially the pallets, which I think what does it say? 4C. 4C is this here. So that looks like it's the basically the escapement pallets. I hope that little sprue wasn't important because it just fell off. Right. Yeah, I think they're just the moulding sprues. So it's going to be tricky to get a file into there, but these are probably quite important ones to just make sure that the clearance is there. Hi, James. It's a long process to learn clock making. I didn't sort of pick it up overnight. I did go to Birmingham into the jewellery quarter and learnt at the School of Jewellery there. The main body of my experience is from working though. It's actually at the bench. It's sitting next to competent people who know what they're doing and learning everything you can from them. And it's a sort of a catch-22 because you need a good job to work on good clocks to get good experience, to learn how to work on good clocks to get good experience. It's one of those. So yeah. But I was very lucky that I was given some good opportunities early on to work on some very fine clocks. Perhaps this one's not as fine, but it was it really accelerated my my skill set to work on some of the things that I was given access to early on in my career. So I was very lucky. Right, so got this. Let's get 3A ready. What's 3A? A bracket. Yeah, 3A is here. I might just switch to this. That seemed to work a little bit better to just very carefully, yeah, just shave them off with the scalpel. How many years to collect all machines and tools you have in your workshop? Which of your machines was hardest to get? Yeah, the workshop is the collection of my career to date. I've been collecting those tools for years. A lot of them are machines that are from they're obviously they're almost all second hand. Some probably third, fourth, fifth hand. They are all very high quality Swiss machines, or they're high quality machines. I haven't bought new cheap machines, if that makes sense. Excuse me a second. Just a gulp of coffee. Yeah, I've always bought good quality machines that are old, that are vintage, and I would advise anybody setting up in a clockmaking workshop to do the same. So even though the prices are actually increasing a bit at the moment, but aiming for something like a Schaublin or at least a Pultra, machines of that type in the lathe. Oh, hi, Carly. Good to know. Yeah, nice to know somebody's enjoying it. Yeah, it's good to aim for a decent quality machine. Don't be tempted to sort of go, I'm setting up now, I need a lathe, what can I get on Amazon, and go for a sort of a Chinese import lathe or anything like that, because you'll be sorely disappointed with its limitations, and it won't take you long to be putting it on eBay and looking for something better. So yeah, it's taken me a long time to build up my collection of tools, secondhand, word of mouth, and that's the way it is in this trade. So what I've done here, just as they were saying about the orientation, we've got this one at the top here, and there is like a conical pivot in the bottom of there, and there's the opposing pivot point there, so that sits in there. So I'm sure that will be sort of registered a little bit later. But let's snap the base piece on here, because I think that holds it together. Yeah, there we go. So it's starting to look a little bit like a clock. There you go. It's almost ticking. Right. So let's move on. Which of my machines was hardest to get was the second part of your question, wasn't it? Which of my machines was hardest to get? I mean, it's always hard to find a really nicely equipped Schaublin, because the tooling is the thing that's hard to come by, collet sets and things like that. So I'm still on the lookout for better tooling for my Schaublin 70. I'd love a nice set of W12 collets, because mine are a bit sparse. And as a result of that, I don't use the machine as much as I would like to. The Aciera F3 was pretty hard to find something that either doesn't have any tooling at all, or has had a bit of a hammered life, because it's a bigger milling machine, so they do tend to get a bit hammered. But I was quite lucky. I eventually dropped on the Aciera. Again, Aciera as opposed to a Chinese import milling machine every day of the week. Sometimes they're not even that much more expensive, because if you were to get a sort of a better quality import machine, like an Optimum or something like that, then you'd be spending quite a few thousand on it anyway, and you can pick up a decent Aciera second, third hand, you'd be looking sort of 3,500, something like that. So you're in the ballpark financially. So to me, it's an absolute no-brainer. Right, so we're looking here. What should we do? This is the bit that holds this together. So let's get the arrow pointing up in the right direction, because this is our last chance to get that right. And then snap that on there. There we go. Right. Now these are the pulley sections. Now I don't think these, it's 7 and 8. I don't think these are actually particularly functional, just looking at the pictures. I think Da Vinci's I was saying about quality tools, but I do have some Chinese clothes in there. Yeah, I mean, definitely there are some that are, you know, if you can't, I know I appreciate I'm in the UK, and these kinds of machines do tend to be slightly easier to come by over here, seemingly, particularly than sort of in Australia or America. So I do have the luxury of being able to spout on about buying second-hand Swiss machines as a priority, but as a preference. But yeah, I mean, some of the import machines, and they can be made to, you know, be functional. I'm sure most of you will be familiar with Stefan, a very prominent YouTuber whose surname I'm not even going to endeavour to pronounce, and he's done a lot of very detailed videos on modifying his import machinery, and you know, bringing it up to a very, very high standard. Basically, in some instances, I think he's basically sort of used it as a casting set to then work on. Right, so we're putting these pulleys together. So we want 12C. I think these are the two. Yeah, 12Cs, and then. What have we got? 17 and 16, 17 and 16. So these are here, 17, 16. Oh. Yeah, Derbyshire's are excellent machines, really good. Hardly ever see them over here, to be honest. But I've got some American colleagues who speak incredibly highly of them, and I know they're of a standard. The same as Schaublin and the Swiss standard. The same goes for Hardinge. They're, you know, incredibly high quality machines. Yeah, they're definitely something to try and get hold of if you're in the States. As I say, we very rarely see them over here. The equivalent of the Hardinge over here is having something like a Schaublin VM, 102 VM with the lead screws, or because I wasn't in the financial position to look for a VM, and also they are quite hard to find, I managed to find a Smart & Brown 1024 tool room lathe. So that again is a comparative quality. It's you know, very nice quality machine. Diamond turning lathes, as some people call them, so that says it all. Right, so I think these just snap together to be these little pulley assemblies, and then yeah, these go on here. Yeah, I'm always looking to buy machines. I usually can't afford to buy more machines. But yeah, it's something that the curse of the clockmaker is that we all strive to constantly improve our workshop. So when machines come up, you know, it's a case of scrabbling to get to buy it, and yeah, so there's nothing that I desperately need at the moment. I'm very well equipped, but I have always got my ear to the ground, shall we say, for future purchases for the workshop. So B2 is this one here, and then these look like they drop into these slots here, pointing upwards. Yeah. What is this for the Derbyshire lathe? You're talking about the collets. I believe are the Derbyshire's 5C collets. Oh, that's good. So that post actually will only press in as far as you can, and it gives a nice end shake. So that's good. I was expecting them to, wedge in and it be easy to tighten things up that need freedom, but so well thought out, this kit. Actually, you can see it here. You can see the shoulder that's on the post there. So yeah, it's a nice kit. Like somebody said earlier, if it was all machined out of brass and steel, it'd be a really nice thing. Right, where am I up to? We've done that, and now we put the two parts together. I don't think there's anything else needs to go on there first. Just checking. So it snaps together. Yeah, it goes together tight. There we go. Yeah, so 5C collets are fairly easy to get hold of in the UK. You can order new ones, and the beauty of 5Cs is that they're you can buy them new pretty easily. My Smart and Brown is 5C collets. That's the one drawback to Shorblin, is you're stuck with their collet system, and there's not a lot you can do about it. It's you just have to go with it. But second-hand collets, I mean, precision engineering environment, they'd be screaming, "Don't buy second-hand collets." But for clock making, the type of work that I tend to do on them, although precision is a factor. The collets are perfectly accurate enough, as long as you don't buy ones that have obviously been hacked around. Right, so train is going in here. D3 is what it's asking for here, and we want a 20mm shaft, which is that's pretty impressive levels of accuracy. I wasn't expecting. Right, so that one goes in there. Yeah, we'll come back to that. That seems really rather sloppy. Maybe it's supposed to be like that. Who knows? Right, hexagonal shaft and D7. So this is D7 and a hexagonal shaft, and it looks like we're pointing straight up. This has got a pin arrangement here. Not quite sure what that's all about at the moment. Maybe it will become apparent shortly. So yeah, that's just loose in there, and it's also just loose in there. It does engage with that. Okay. Right, we need a pinion. That's in the bag that I didn't open. Let's have a look. Right, so the dials can go on one side. Some more wheel work. That's the pinion we're looking for. So that's actually has got a hex. I see. So that hex fits on the hex of our escapement here. So that's taking drive to the escape wheel. So it's not a very conventional train layout, this, but right, let's have a look. So jig for assembly of D5. Right, let's find the jig. Jig for assembly. That would be this, I think. Oh yeah, jig. There we go. Couldn't be any clearer. So, jig. 31mm shaft. Yeah, 31. So, put the shaft in all the way down. So this is basically going to set the height of, wheel D5. Is there an up and a down on this wheel? Don't think so. I think it's just a straightforward same both ways up. So that will push straight down onto there. So this jig, I think in theory, will mean that it's giving us a dimension here, 16mm. So, yeah. Oh, okay. So the jig's actually given us that positioning of the wheel on the arbor there. So that can now go in here. Okay. So now, optional assembly of gear is the other option. So we can have one rotation, and we can have 4 minutes, 4 rotations, 1 rotation, or 60. So I think the second one sounds like a more horological option to me. So let's see, D1, it's this one. And it's saying 60-1. Yeah, that sounds reasonable. So we need the jig again, and 31mm shaft, standing up in the jig, and then D1. Is there an up? Is there a down? It doesn't say. Let's just go for it. Right, so this one wants 18mm. .21. Yeah. So maybe the shaft wasn't quite bedded into that jig fully. Let's just too far. I'm going somewhere between the two here. Very unscientific, unhorological way of going about things, this, but if it gets there in the end, then that's all that we care about. Oh, yeah, that'll do. That'll do. I'm sure that the tolerance on this clock is that'll do. I don't think we're looking for any great tolerance. Favourite collection of tools? I think one of my favourites actually is tools that I make myself, like jigs. For tools for specific jobs. So holders. These are super glue holders for cutting wheels. Filing jigs for various different things. This is a set for filing the crossings for chronometer escape wheels, and these are all different filing buttons. This was for making a set of latches for the nib clock that I made, and so that's a hardened steel latch. You only have to file the shape out once, and then it's easy to make all the rest the same size. So yeah, I mean, obviously there are loads of different collections of tools that I could say, but yeah, ones that I make myself for a purpose are the fun ones, I think. Right, so what are we doing now? We're on number 6, so we're getting through it. So this wheel, there's our pin that I spotted in that wheel before. This looks like it's going to be the ratchet. Now then, here it is. So it will actually be a click wind up. Let's try and remove this without knackering it. That's interesting. Oh, I don't think it was intentional. I was just going to point out that some of these sprues look to have a weak point to enable you to snap it out and then to take them off later, but I think that was just an accident, that there was a sort of air gap in the plastic on that particular one. So scratch that observation. Blimey, 47 minutes already. I was thinking this was probably a half-an-hour job. So apologies if it's taking a while with me whittering on. I'll try and get through it. Right, so this is going to go in here by the looks of things. This is going to be our ratchet assembly to enable winding up of the clock. So we've got the other half here, which you can clearly see is going to be the ratchet. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. It could be made into a nice little sort of model engineering type project. That's definitely something that could. There we go. So if you missed what was happening there, this is horological. This is just what you would find in a normal clock. So you've got the spring here, and then you've got the pawl of the click assembly, and then you've got the ratchet wheel here, and the two will go together. And in this instance, you've got a pin here acting on this shoulder. That's not normal, but I don't dislike the design, actually. It's rather nifty. And then it will click in one direction but won't come back in the other. So that's traditionally how a clock is wound up, with an assembly very similar to that. So we've got this hook, which is 15C. If you want one of these kits, I have put the link in previous video descriptions, but when this video goes up at the end of this live stream, I'll make sure that the link to the kit is included. And if you use the link provided, then I will get a little tiny cutback from Amazon. They have an associate program, so you can by sending people to buy things from your link, they can track that, and they give you a little kickback. Right, so it says long thread here, telling me how to knot. Now, I wasn't in the Boy Scouts, so I am terrible at knotting, but let's just have a look at this. What's what's happening here. So yeah, I can see what they're saying there, but I can't quite see how. Oh, I see. They're just talking about a knot to loop around and come out of this slot here. So let's have a look. We'll go around. Something like that. Okay. But, oops, it's come undone. Is that it? That's not what I would call a brilliant arrangement. Yeah, that is it. Let's see. Let's try and make as much line as possible so that we've got as much duration as possible, because I suspect the duration of this is going to be very limited. I wouldn't be too concerned about this knot, to be perfectly honest, because I think there's next to no weight on this cloth. Actually, I'm not going to cut it off because they've actually already heated up the end of this line. So I'll just tuck it around. So that's that end. So we've got some line fitted, and then the other end we just loop through there. I'm sure you're all screaming at the camera about my horrendous Boy Scout or lack of Boy Scout knotting skills. Carly, if you're still there, I'm sure you'll be wanting to teach me how to tie knots from your guide's experience. Right. Okay, so we've got a line, good. And we can then, we want this part, I see, which goes on top. This is like our barrel assembly, if you want to put it into horological terms, I suppose. This is the line is going to be wrapped around this this pulley, and then it can unwind. Let's try and get that tucked right in. There we go. Right. So I think we'll put that back on here. Let's put the ratchet together. There we go. Drop that whole thing in, and where are we? Just going to say, where has the arbor gone? Oh, I see. Now it makes sense why this is a hex arbor, because of course the hex is on the inside of the ratchet. So that makes a lot of sense. Right. There we go. Right. Wall mounting or desktop? I'm going to do desktop mounting. So that's this base here. So we've got this central part. You'll be pleased to know, I think we're approaching the end, so it should be done somewhere around the hour. Right. So if any of you do go on to get one of these kits or have already got one and are going to do it yourself, then do please take a couple of photos and send them over to me. You can send them on my messages on Instagram at Tommy, what am I? At Tommy.Jobson, I think I am. Yeah. That would be good. Nice and slick move there, Tommy, you know, not even knowing your own social media handle, I don't know. Rookie mistakes. Oh, not even sure that this hasn't been thought out. The fact that the little spurs from the moulding process of the plastic is actually going to be hidden behind the legs. So, as I say, it's an impressively thought out kit, this, actually, for the price. Make a great present for somebody with a sort of a passing interest in horology, who hasn't got a workshop but, you know, fancies just having a play. So we're actually fitting it to this stand at this moment. I think we are, by the look of it, yeah. I'm not sure why though, because we haven't put the front plate on yet. Ah, I see, put the front plate on. I haven't, getting ahead of myself. Right, so that's this one here. And I don't think there's anything majorly involved to think about there. Is everything on that should be on? That's an optional wheel for the motion work. That was when we opted what the lower dial was going to be reading. So I don't think I need to worry about that one. Yeah, looks about right. So there we go, committed. Let's make sure everything is down tight. Bit tricky to get this bit tight because the escape wheels are preventing you from getting in there to get it tight. Let's see what we can think up. Let's just put that there for a minute. Yeah, that worked. My ancestral Chesterman 6-inch rule coming to the rescue there. Right. Now we can fit the base. How far down does it go? Further than that. Let's have a look. That's it. That's it. So flush with the bottom there, and then there's a little cutout actually that allows that bottom pillar. So now we're looking something like, let's just hang the line over that pulley where I think it's going to go. Right, I think the second line is actually not doing anything. It's just for show. Yeah, it is. So we'll put that on later, which is a shame because Da Vinci's actual design that they're basing this on, that's not for show. It is independent. So it's a shame they didn't go all the way through with that. So looks like we take the spurs out of the middle of the dial. They're not part of the dial. The sprues, as I should be calling them, not spurs. It's not a cockerel. Right. So, nearing the finished post. Let's put the dial on. Hi Neil, thanks for dropping in and thank you very much. As I said, it's only a bit of fun. It's not obviously not serious horology, but I thought rather than just be building the kit on my own, then I thought I might as well do it on here and have a chat whilst we're at it. So that was the thought process. Now we're back to this not being able to get your hands behind these pillars bit again. Might have to break out the ancestral steel rule again. Let's see. Get the bottom one. Has that done it? Yeah. I'm used to things being screwed together, to be perfectly honest, or pinned together. Press fitting things in an assembly like this with your fingers is not very horological. So anyway, right. I think. Oh, we need some hands. Do they give us some hands? Yes, they did. I see. So, hands, or needles as they call them. Again, not very horological. Right, oh, and a key. Let's put the key on. This is the weight, which I think needs some coins putting in it, or some bits of scrap brass, whatever we can find, to give it some weight. That's the dummy weight. We'll come to that in a minute. This is the other hand, or needle, as they call it. Right. This is actually counterbalanced. They're obviously expecting great things of this. It's, oh no, it's not, sorry. There was me thinking that the central hole was, oh no, wait a minute, yes. The central hole is, no it's not. The central hole is decoration, that's right. I'm back to my original, that's just the mounting post. So it's not counterbalanced. I'll shut up. Let's push the hands on, make sure there's a little bit of end shake, because it'd be easy to press everything on so that it's too tight and doesn't work. Which I'm sure is the trap that a lot of people who aren't used to handling clocks probably fall into. They'll put it all together nice and tight without realizing the sort of freedom tolerances that are necessary in any clock. And just because this is made of plastic doesn't mean that it's any different. So you still need to have, well, not that much freedom, but some freedom, and not touching the dial and things like that. So anyway, whoopsie daisy. One of the things that's quite different about this for me, handling it in comparison to a traditional clock, is how light it is. I'm used to things being a bit chunkier, so it's sort of, you know, you just catch it with your finger and the clock falls over. You know, it's that's not how a normal clock reacts. There's normally some mass to the material. So this is our weight. And we're getting pretty close to seeing if it'll actually tick. So the weight is just this little doofer. You'll put some coins or something in, and then the key, which I imagine is, yeah, goes onto the hex. Yeah, it'd make a good Christmas present for a child to have a go at, because it's, you know, someone who's got a little bit of a passing interest maybe. Right, just have a quick, I think we're there, you know. I know I haven't put the dummy weight on yet, but I'll do that in a minute. So let's just get the camera to a slightly different angle. Let's see. Right, let's go for that. Let's see what I've got in the coin department. Not a great deal of any consequence, to be honest. Let's have a look. See if that's enough. Right. So let's, I imagine we're just winding most of this line onto the barrel. On the desktop version, on the wall-mounted version, perhaps the duration would be a little bit longer. Let's see if that's going to be enough weight. Doubt it. No, nothing like enough weight. Right, let's have a look. See if I can find something else that's a bit heavier to drop in there. Right then, some bits of scrap brass. That should work in the absence of some coins. What I could do is just turn up a couple of brass discs, and let's see, is that going to tick? No. So basically it needs quite a lot of weight to run, this thing. Let's have a look. Fault finding. Wow, that's interesting. The amount of weight needed looks quite extreme, to be honest. So let's see if something's tight. These the fact that these wheels flop around so much is not great, because it means that they don't mesh together very nicely. Let's see. You get a stall point on the train is what's happening, and it's to do with the meshing with all of these flapping around here. So that's a little bit disappointing. It's a little bit disappointing. Let's see if I take a bit of this weight off, if I'm overloading the plastic gearing a little bit, but I don't think that's the problem. What I can see is a problem, which may well cure things. It's the tail of the ratchet is actually not sitting down where it should be sitting. So see if I can correct that without having to split all the plates again, which would be a bit of a pain in the bum. So let's see. Now we're back to not having enough weight. Oop. Definitely got a problem with the ratchet there. Let's just have a closer inspection. better. Right. Yeah, so it's purely down to not having enough weight on it now, I think. Let's see. Hurrah! The bit of brown plastic, this piece, that's the optional wall mounting thing. So you can put that on instead of this base and hang it with on a screw on the wall here. So it's working. So I think what I need to do is find something a little bit better to use as a weight. Because these are obviously not very great. But I think the idea is that you put a few solid gold sovereigns in there, you know, so that you've got plenty of mass. If all else fails, put a bigger weight on. Standard horological mantra. So it doesn't run for very long. Duration looks like it's a couple of minutes. So it really is just a little sort of novelty to have on your desk. But it works. It demonstrates something along the lines of the principle of Da Vinci's clock escapement, if albeit not quite as Da Vinci perhaps would have envisaged. Just tickling the little counterweight thing just to finish off the job. But it's not really a counterweight. I mean, it just hangs on here, to be honest. It doesn't do anything at all. It drives the motion work and the escapement independently, is Da Vinci's idea. And I haven't looked into exactly how he achieves that, actually. I haven't studied his drawings or anything, but I'd like to, because as I say, how I found out about this kit was when I was trying to find some more details about his original ideas. And it sounds like an impressive idea to have had in the 16th century, to be essentially detaching the escapement from the motion work that's going to be putting drag on the rest of the mechanism. He was obviously thinking the right thoughts. So that's all that does. It doesn't do anything at all on this model. If I can be bothered, I will turn up some lumps of brass to stick in here. To act as a proper weight. Right, let's just show you the escapement. Don't know if you can see in here. So that's how the escapement's working. It's a sort of a pinwheel type arrangement with the 2 escape wheels. And a folio balance. Then you've got your gear train here, which is essentially all motion work, because the actual gear train is only between the sort of barrel wheel, if you want to call it that, and the pinion that's behind here driving the escape wheel, and the rest of it is just like this is just driving the second hand, if that's what you want to call it, and the rest is just driving the motion work up to the minute hand, if we'll call it that. I'm not sure either of them are rotating at anything like those rates, but and then the folio there, so there it goes. It ticks, sort of. Okay. So I hope that was enjoyable for some of you at least. And thank you very much for joining me. Remember to leave a thumbs up and a like or subscribe and all of those nice things. That would be great. I can hang about here for a minute or two if any of you have got any further questions for me. No problem. I'm glad it was entertaining. Thanks, Ashley. Yeah, it is a bit of a fancy egg timer, actually. I'm not sure it'll actually run well enough to time an egg, to be honest. I think you'd be having to wind it up several times to time an egg. Oops, and the weight's fallen off again. There we go. I think that would take a while to build a nice Airfix Spitfire. I did used to do Airfix when I was younger, but the time for that has diminished now. Yeah, the bracket clock series. There's a new video just gone up yesterday, part 4. Thanks, Paul. And yeah, part 4 of the bracket clock series has just gone up. And so so do check that out, and there will be more of that series coming up in the next month or so. We'll finish that series off. There's a few episodes left to do, because obviously there's the bushing work to do, and the dial restoration, and assembling it and adjusting it and all those things. So yeah, if you've enjoyed that, that would be yeah, you can follow along. Okay, well, thank you very much, everyone. I'm going to sign out now, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks very much.